Hello again, Pedro. I've been considering something in our conversation, and I wanted to kind of give you an update about where I'm at right now. In this previous video um, I made that because you'd written at one point that the physical is the reality of the mental. And when I read that, I kind of a little light went off. I just liked it. I liked that phrase. The physical is the reality of the mental. But then my next thought was, oh, it's kind of exactly in the reverse as I see it. As I see it, the mental is the reality of the physical. And so then I tried to show that, or talk about it a little bit in this last video. And I'll just go over it quickly. The basic idea is, like anything in this room that we say is physical, like my coffee cup. We, we think that this is naively we think it's real, or it looks that way, because of because of science and our ability to make logical arguments and probe into what it could be. We know that it actually isn't as it appears. It's actually mostly empty space, as I said before. And even more than that, we know that property like white, it seems white to me, although to some humans in the right light it might seem like something else. Like you may have seen this, it was the dress. This was kind of famous. It was maybe 10 years ago now. Sometimes these go around the internet, a picture where half the population thinks it's one color, half the population thinks it's another color. This dress was either gold or blue, depending on you. And people were shocked because, husbands would say obviously it's a blue dress. His wife says, oh no, that's a gold dress. They're looking at the same picture, so that's pretty mysterious. But it goes to show that whatever, it also goes to show that whatever wavelengths are coming at us, these are going to be, from the materialist point of view, analyzed and produced in a simulation in a different way depending on the brain. One way to think about it. Another way to think about it is that every different being has a different experience, and while human beings have pretty similar experiences, there's no way that a snail doesn't have eyes, for example. It's not going to see this as white. It's not going to be it doesn't have sense faculties for that. Some beings will think this is small. Here it gets bigger. Some will think it's big. Here, now it's bigger to you. Now it's getting smaller. Some beings will think it's huge. Some small. A bacteria, what's their experience of this? What's their sensory direct experience of this? Hard to say. A bat, what about other beings? What about a squid? What if there's like a giant that is a mile tall? This is going to be something like a grain of sand. Or what about some alien that is in some form, or some form with some sense faculties that we can't even imagine? This is not going to be this. This is going to be something completely different for that being. And the relationship between this and what some other being says, it's hard to say. I mean, we think that there's got to be something there to that we think, well, must generate that the realness or the somethingness of this cup. For me, it's a cup. But as I saw a video recently with Anil Seth, and he said that it was a talk with Sean Kelly, physicist, and he said, that this reality is unknowable. That's kind of what we think. I mean, we say that it really is unknowable, and we simply have a simulation of it. And the fact that this is a kind of a logical entailment of that, if each different being, all different types of beings with different sense faculties, have a different experience of this, whatever this is, that means that there's no way to say who's right, who has the more correct experience. They're just different experiences of different beings. Is it big? Is it small? Is it white? Is it blue? Is it hard? Is it soft? Is it fluid? Is it not? These are all our properties that we project onto physical objects. So, and the further entailment is that then, since they're all different and there's no way to say what it is, there's nothing there from its own side. We have no way to say, no way to logically say that there's some reality behind the appearance that is generating the appearance in some true way, some kind of cause and effect way. Because if there was something real in this sense, in the way we normally think of as a kind of a causal sense, then that would generate something similar, something we'd have to find, we'd have to be able to see the properties somehow of the actual physical thing in there, but we don't. We have all these different types of properties that different beings experience of what we call physical objects. So in that way, I say the mental, what's coming from the subjective pole of subject-object experience, which is what we experience, what's coming from the subjective pole is really the reality of the physical. The physical doesn't have any reality. It's unknowable, as Anil Seth said. It's reality. Why we think it's real. Why do I think this is real? Because it looks like a cup. And look, it's hard. Hardness is a big, if something's hard, I think it's real. So that's its reality, really. The reality of the physical is the mental. See, that's how I see it. And I think what I just said is pretty logical. I wonder what, can't really see a flaw in it, what I just said. Of course, it's my view, so it's going to be hard to see it. What I do see, of course, is if you take that view, like if you're a scientist and you take that view, that's a destabilizing view to take. That's a kind of a scary view to take. It's irritating view to take. Because it seems as if we're just walking right into this quagmire, where, I become like a postmodernist fly in the soup of a hardworking scientist. They're trying to figure out exactly what's out there, and people like me, which I'm kind of giving an idealist type of line here, that's also similar to a constructivist type of line here, something similar to like, well, this is all just a construction, and then right next to that is a social construction, a cultural construction. I'm saying that I can't find any reality in the physical world, and it's all somehow just coming out of my sense perceptions, which are then built up of the culture that I came from, etc. And that's not very satisfying for people because it leads to kind of a nihilistic viewpoint, or a solipsistic viewpoint, one of those. And so I get it. I get why it's not very satisfying to kind of come to rest on the mental is the reality of the physical. So I was I was thinking about this further a little bit, and I feel like I understood. I kind of got it. Actually, the physical is the reality of the mental, actually, in a certain way, and because if you look at it, you say mental, you know, when I said mental, I didn't really mean thinking. It's not what I meant by mental. But I need to kind of clarify that a little bit, I think. And so, if you look at, if we say that the mental is the reality of the physical, okay, well then what's the mental? Let's find that. If I'm saying that's the ground, then let's find it and see, what I'm talking about. So, and we can both do this. You have a consciousness mind, I have a consciousness mind. It's directly accessible to us. We can do the experiment, or the observation. We can just look for it and see what, find the ground. We should be able to. If that's the ground of things, we should be able to observe it in some way. So if you do that, if I look at, and I what I mean is not just, like I said, it's not thinking. That's something that a thought is something that comes into my awareness. I can say, for example, a mental image. I can see a mental image of a white cup quite clearly, actually. Now, that's a image. That's not the, but that's not really my consciousness. I see that, so there's something prior to or witnessing that, anything that I experience in my mind or out here, I need to trace that back. I need to find the root of that mental image or mind or consciousness. So if I start looking, I look into my mind, you can look into your mind, and different things come up. I may have a thought coming up. I may have I may have a sense of myself, some kind of inchoate sense may come up. Looking for the root of the mind. I'm looking for the starting point of consciousness, you could say. The very essence of it is what I'm trying to look at here. And it's not so easy because it's like, things come up, and whatever comes up, that's not it. That's not the essence, because that's within consciousness, or that's appearing to consciousness. So that's not what we're talking about. We're looking for consciousness itself, is what we're looking for. So it's kind of like things come up, you kind of got to bat them away, no, that's enough. It comes up, no, that's not it. No, that's not that. No, got to try to stay right on point. I don't see anything. Look yourself. Can you see a root for consciousness? Can you, you're looking for what's looking. You're looking right at what is looking. When I do that, I don't see anything. I see nothing. You too? Is that what you see? There's nothing there. Frankly, when I really look right at that, at the root of consciousness, the only thing I see is all of my experience. I see the computer in front of me. I feel the chair underneath me. I have experience. I don't see anything. I don't see anything to ground the physical in. There's just nothing, There's nothing there I can find. And in saying this, I'm certainly not the only one who's done this experiment, tried to find that, and found zip, found nothing. So I don't feel like I'm making this up. And it's not like, it's not hard to do, to investigate this yourself. What's hard is that sometimes things come up that you might think, oh, that's it. But then anything you find, like, if I observe my hand again and I think, well, it's an example of something that might come up. If I see it, I know it's not it, because I'm the observer I'm the one with awareness. I'm the one who's conscious. If I'm conscious of my hand, that's not consciousness. I'm seeing that, you know. And if the hand goes away, the consciousness remains. Now here I'm conscious of the hand goes away, consciousness is still there. So that's not it. Can't be anything that comes up, because that comes and goes. So what's the conclusion then? Well, it kind of forces me almost to this conclusion that the physical is a reality of the mental. The real. I can't find anything real if I look for the root of consciousness. You know? There's just nothing there. Nothing doesn't feel like real. Nothing doesn't feel like something. You know, it doesn't seem like something. Not just feel. Logically, cannot make that something. How do you make nothing something, really? People have tried to do that. They've not succeeded. So again, I don't know if I want to retract what I said, that the physical, or that the mental is the reality of the physical. I still see how that's true, exactly true. But I have to add that the physical is the reality of the mental, because I don't see how you could ever have any reality of that mental, of consciousness, without what we call the physical. However we want to characterize what this stuff is, what this something is. Another way you could say is that something is the reality of nothing. Nothing is the reality of something. These two ideas, these two ways of seeing things seem like they're contradictory. If Aristotle wouldn't like it. It doesn't fit with 3 laws of thought. But just because we think something doesn't mean it's so. Just because we can't see how it fits in the way we think about things doesn't mean that that's not the way it is. So I would have to say that here we have, first we had kind of a victory for the idealists, round 1. I think I have to give round 2 here kind of a victory to the materialists, although I don't think they analyze it in the way that I did. So we kind of have these two sides, that point of view from the subjective side, point of view from the objective side. They both seem to have some kind of truth in it. And the question is then, is there a way to integrate those two different views in a way that is that really makes sense, that is intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, experientially true. I was going to say satisfying, but both satisfying as well, but also true. Can we see things in such a way that we feel that's true? And then if we analyze it, we also find that's true. That's, I think, what we're looking for. Some way to take the different perspectives that we can generate, find what's true about them, and sit in the integration, realize the integration. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. Maybe that's just my habit, I always feel like everybody has something true that they're seeing. I don't see how anybody could have nothing true about what they're seeing. So anyway, round 2 to you, I think. No, they're not rounds, we're just talking here. But anyway, I hope I hope you appreciate that I see your point of view maybe a little bit more clearly, or come around to it in some way, hopefully. So thanks again, and I look forward to more conversation.